a lot of people are saying, Matt, what is the grill pill? Grill pill be. What does this mean? Grill pill was ironic. You guys know the meme of the guy flipping the burgers and he says, Klansmen, racism, politics, I just want to grill for God's sakes. Of course, that was an ironic appropriation because nobody talking about that cares more about what they're talking about than somebody who posts the grill guy, because you're trying to cover up for the knowledge that you are in fact mad and red and nude and owned and all those things that you spend your life terrified for other people to find out about. Grill pill is really an approach to the internet more than anything. And the essence of grill pill is to log off and grill instead. And grilling can be whatever it is that's actually in your life that gives you a sense of satisfaction. All that energy you were expending, and I was expending, caring about the presidential election, that is a sterile investment. It goes broader to caring about politics insofar as your caring about politics is expressed by going online to argue with people about them or to make fun of people about them. So grill instead. And by that I mean focus on something in your life that brings meaning to it. When you hear get off the internet, it's terrifying because you still don't know what to do. And so what am I going to do? Sit here with my thoughts? Oh my God, I'm going to go insane. That is where the grill part comes in. And I don't mean grill like in the sense necessarily of a Weber or whatever. I mean look around you. Find something that you are good at, talented at, but also willing to keep trying. But of course, eventually, the alienation's going to creep back in. What to do? You're going to want to run to the computer. Don't do it. Sit with that discomfort. Sit with that alienation. And you might say, well, yeah, but you might be wrong. You might have reasoned wrong in like what politics to support. That's true too. But you're not going to find out. Like the idea that you're going to reason your way to it is a trap that keeps you locked in here. Oh boy, the honk pill, man. I won't say her name, but the person who compared the grill pill to the honk pill today on Twitter was very funny to me. For those who don't know, honk pill is some painful 4chan nerd bullshit about like, it's like ironic Nazism that's not ironic, whatever. It's all the kind of really cool stuff that, I don't know, when you start talking about the honk pill and then your next words are, this is extremely dangerous, that really is, to me, a sign that you need to fucking log the fuck off. It's the honk pill. And I know. Fascism is often intentionally clownish and theatrical and buffoonish, and that's part of what cloaks it. But in this case, you're talking about a actual handful of people, all of whom have spent their entire adult lives, to the extent that they're adults, and most of them are kids, on the internet. And it's not even like they're the scary hacker guys going on like the dark web to assassinate their fucking middle school principal. They're just posting cringe all day, every day. But anyway, these are like ironic Nazis or something. And this person says that the reason that they're the same is that they both say, LOL, nothing matters. And the thing that indicates to me more than anything is just how built into people, to the point where I don't even think they realize it. In their minds, the connection between politics and posting is. Like the number, it's amazing. Like, it's been very clear. The explicit argument has always been log off and do something real, because you will get captured by a false anti-dialectical cave. You're walking into Plato's cave on purpose. Don't do that. But what people hear is log off means stop posting. That means stop sharing content. That means stop arguing with people. And that means stop caring, because caring is posting. And I understand, I really understand why people think that, because there's so few
avenues for most people to effectively act. But that's why you got to log off, because then you have to find one. You have to. And yeah, some of these guys, by the way, some of these honk dudes, they're probably going to do a school shooting or like they're going to kill people probably, but I mean, it's weird. I think there was a common understanding among like educated people for a while that yes, discrete political but also pop culture objects can be triggers for people to commit violence, but that it's never the thing itself that leads to the violence. I think we had that like kind of assumed for a long time, except for, the crazy Christian right. But then, because everyone started huddling in the cave, they stopped thinking that way. And I can kind of understand the reasoning of like, well, if everyone's online more and putting more energy into online, then that means that the acts that they carry out are going to be more, they're more likely, or they can be more influenced by like violent content and by violent politics to do an act. And the thing is, that might be true, but if it is, it's not the discrete memes or politics that's the problem. It is the internetification of life. Like at every level, the proximate triggers for violence, for the proximate triggers for unorganized lone wolf political violence is the same as for school shooters and general social misfits. Those urges are generated by a fucking material economic base. I hate to sound like a broken record. And it's our inability to face that makes us flee to social fixes. Because if we can ban X, Y, or Z, then we can remove the proximate triggers. And it's like, yes, you can, but you've done nothing to stop the alienation. That's at the heart of it. And then once again, it's like, yeah, but what can you do? And it's like, I don't know either. But I know for shit you can't, I know sure as shit you can't do it by engaging at the symbolic level. All I know is it won't be found there. What it is, I don't know, but it won't be found there. That means everyone is required to do something else. And a lot of people, they don't want to. Not just they can't think of one, they wouldn't want to do something else if they could. And to them I say, tough. But it's not nihilism. Jesus Christ. It's just absurd. Nihilism isn't even real. There aren't any nihilists. Everybody has some sort of fucking motivating like architecture for the world, some value. Like personal hedonism is not nihilism. You believe in your own pleasure. Oh God, I'm not talking anymore about a honk pill. I'm not talking about the honk pill. I will say this. Last night I was explaining the honk pill to someone, and they were having a very fun time because they had no idea what it was, and they were just dying laughing at the prospect of this thing. And I actually read the honk pill thread, and reading it out loud, you really get you get what the internet does to people's brains. Because no matter how eye-rolling or absurd most things you see on the internet are, in that context, they're sort of given a surface plausibility or something, because they're embedded. It's embedded. But if you read it out loud to someone else, as though you're just like saying something to someone, you can really just be like, oh dear, this internet is just like this website is just churning people into paranoid maniacs. And they're walking around with this stuff in their head thinking it's real. And you're like, oh my God. That's yikes. It's a yikes, fam. That's what it is. I kind of want to find it and read it again. Read it on here, kind of. Because reading it out loud was so funny. I'm just going to read 2 tweets that she did. And like, there doesn't even need to be a pipeline travel from Chapo to Truanon to Red Scare to Stupid Paul to Fash at that point. The dirtbags are welcoming incels into their fan bases now. Those guys don't need Terrorgram to lead them to violence. And that 8chan, Terrorgram, Clown World, and honk pill nihilism is already deeply laundered into the dirtbag left. The honkler His catchphrase, honk honk, is explicitly code for HH, short for Heil Hitler, is all over dirtbag Twitter. You would not believe the number of dirtbag leftists using Clown World and other variants of this meme, like clown emojis, in my mentions. Most don't even realize how the clown emoji got popularized as code for the explicitly Nazi honkler Clown World meme. It's beyond irresponsible. The podcasters are seeding the left, ironically, with terror-friendly discourse. And institutions like Dem Socialists and Jacobin Mag are enabling them because they care more about recruitment than they do about consequences. I don't believe they're deliberately trying to get people killed with this shit. I don't think the Irony Dead Honkler creator Channers were either. I just think they're all recklessly indifferent to the potentially deadly consequences of their actions. I mean, once you find yourself earnestly writing something like, the 8chan Terrorgram Clown World and Honk Pill Nihilists. And not only are you talking about these things like they have meaning, you're talking about them explicitly like they are life and death concerns. Like the honklers, they're gonna listen to the podcast and then they're gonna kill everybody. The honkler Terrorgram Clown World Honk Pill people. It really only hit me when I read it out loud how insane that stuff was. And that kind of scared me a little bit because I'm like, I knew it was funny and I thought it was like silly. And I was like, oh, Gwen's had it again. But then reading it out loud to someone who wasn't online as much and hadn't read that stuff really hit me like, oh, this is an entire like self-created universe that somebody has fashioned out of the bricolage of the internet and turned into like a existential battle between good and evil. Damn, man. If that doesn't tell you people you need to like step back from the internet, I don't know what the hell that would. Just, that is the abyss staring right back. And the thing is that like if it's all a scam to get people to like pay attention to her, that implies that she thinks that kind of stuff is going to resonate with people. That someone's going to read that and be like, Clown World Ponkler, yes, Terrorgram, yes. And if that's the case, then yikes. If there are people for whom that is meaningful words, it's like, fuck, we are in Pontypool. We're in the Pontypool universe where words have turned into a virus and are just burrowing into our heads and dissolving our cognitive function and replacing it with a paranoid alternative fantasy realm. So I wanted to start by closing my end of a hilarious online, I guess, back and forth, back and diagonal, maybe, back and perpendicular would be more accurate, between me and someone on Twitter who has been talking about me being a gateway to Nazism. I talked about it a little bit. I read a tweet thread last time and I couldn't stop laughing because of how funny it was. And of course that led to fodder and another round of tweeting, and I just wanted to say, okay, this has been fun. I think it's been funny, but now it's time to stop on my end anyway, because if you can't see how sterile and doomed any kind of engagement like that is, I don't know what to tell you. It can only provide the joy of owning and doing mind combat. It cannot resolve anything. So seeking to have it do that, which a lot of people do online, is a fantasy, and I want to stop. I know it's a work in progress, like trying to totally disengage from online, and it's going to take a very long while. But one way, for me anyway, is to recognize a bad pattern and just end it. But I did want to say something publicly, though, because I just wanted to point out how perfect an example this thing is of the way that nobody online actually is trying to persuade anyone of anything. All they're doing is building heat around their persona, like their professional wrestler. And it's about pitching to a already established specific fan base of people who respect them, maybe give them money for some sort of media endeavor or activism, and that involves conflict. And that involves picking fights, and that involves getting responses. So when I started responding, that was heroin into the veins. I mean, as much as the tweets might have been hysteric and, oh my God, look what he's doing. Doesn't he realize that he's normalizing the honk pill and is going to lead to mass shootings all over America? Doesn't he care? But in reality, she's thrilled to get a response that she can further use to further the illusion of a meaningful contest there. But at no point is any of this stuff geared towards I read the stuff and I talked about how just hearing it out loud was startling, considering how obscure and weird it was, and that just goes to show that the unengaged, the undecided, are not considered in this dialogue. Like, there's no question about getting people who aren't on the team. It's about people who already agree with you on all this stuff. And that means that if you get attacked back, that's just more grist for the mill. And that's why, I don't mind doing it for a little bit, because I don't think it's bad. For me, it's not like I'm scared of, oh no, I'm going to get canceled by her. And it's not like I even think what she's doing is like terribly terrible. It's honestly a fun diversion. It's like a nice little place to riff for most people, or to get their like anti-fascist hysteric anxiety out. Either way, they're having a good time. Like a person sweating over their tweets about who they're gonna like expose, what fash they're gonna dox in their war against fash. Every time they see a honk pill meme, or they see me triggering their, like, the Rube Goldberg contraption that connects me to like a fucking the Walmart Texas school, the Walmart Texas shooter or whatever. The lines of dominoes. Of course, like, it's horror and fear, but that horror and fear is tinged. It's tinged with pleasure. And everyone who's making fun of these goofballs, they're having a good time right out there in the open, but they're both having fun. And that's fine. Everyone's got to do something on the internet. Might as well have some fun. And I think this is honestly relatively harmless, because the people who are wrapped up in this stuff, give them a busy box. I would rather have them be online trying to stop the fascists on Twitter than doing something helpful, which would undoubtedly be a massive disaster. Because if your ability to like sift signal from noise, if your ability to distinguish things by like meaning, by like with like gradients of meaning, if you have any sort of faculty for observing reality and giving it some sort of like a emotional and epistemic triage, I guess, where you I guess I'm just trying to say, where you understand there's a difference between the internet and reality. When you understand there's a difference between subculture, online, and politics, then if you have that understanding, none of this stuff makes sense to you. And if you don't have that understanding, you sure as shit should not be trying to deal with people who can in the real world. It will be a disaster. So good, stay there. Keep fighting the good fight. And even, hey, Patreons for fighting the fash, go for it. It's a nice little busy box for people whose basic ability to understand the world is not sufficient to the task of activism. Because I just want to say, one of the accusations that was thrown at me is that, like, I was playing dumb about the reality of the clown pill or honking or whatever, like acting like it wasn't a real thing, it wasn't a real subculture that was really out there. And it's like, no, I know it's real. I'd heard about it before this. Of course, I was extremely online, for God's sakes. I know about the stupid clown world bullshit. But not only is she asking an audience to take seriously the idea that clown pill is a genuine gateway towards real violence in the world, and not just in the proximate trigger of like, well, this alienated psycho who hated everyone also enjoyed this meme. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. that proximate trigger thing, that's how you got the moral hysteria around video games and films. And I know that's now it's actually hip on the left to talk like that, but I'm still holding out the good fight that no, that's not the thing. That's meaningless to the real questions of the structural causes of any kind of violence, including isolated lone wolf murder. By the way, it is interesting to me that these people are fixated on the concept of fascism, right? Which is in large part defined as a mass political movement that uses organized, legal and extra-legal violence to assert power in the political arena. What they have decided is the thing that they could actually like pull out of this as an actual justification for why care about this stupid bullshit online is, will some of these guys end up shooting up a Walmart or killing a neighbor or something? And that's true, but by fixating on that, you've basically undermined any meaningful definition of fascism. Because fascism cannot be isolated people doing uncoordinated acts of violence. Do you think the brown shirts were just reading the Deutscher Bierbacher and then deciding to go out and punch a fucking communist? Do you think they would have taken over Germany if they'd done that? Like, your definition of fascism is just late capitalist enemy. It's just this, that means Columbine is fascism. And the thing is that kind of violence is a sign of a of a society in decay at the level of its social fabric, which militates against the idea that there's enough of a social fabric to generate a mass political movement that would be fascism. So they're already, even at the beginning, they've shit in their own foundation by going with a mechanism for what fascism it is and where it comes from, that is idealist fantasy, that genuinely misunderstands not only the difference between media and reality, but the difference between like fascism and just antisocial behavior. And so they're off to a bad start there. But not only do you have to buy that end idea, you then have to say that this Honkler bullshit is similar enough to the Grillpill to mean that if you listen to my streams, or you will be more likely to then switch over to honking on the honk pill, and then maybe eventually, because of the honk pill people, going on to shoot somebody. Like, that's how you elide the idea, like the absurdity of saying I'm going to cause fascist school shootings, by saying, no, Matt won't, but he will get people to take more seriously the idea of the clown or the honk pill. And that's the moral contagion fantasy. That is the confusion of symbols for reality that happens when you have completely detached from a material understanding of the world. Once that happens, you are in cloud cuckoo land. You are untethered, and your analysis will only become more arcane and self-referential and self-justifying. It'll get denser. It'll require a greater degree of weird conspiratorial logic and leaps of logic and symbolic confusion. Like, this whole thing basically starts because two things have the word pill in them. That's the essential thing. This is that they're able to take superficial symbolic similarities and extrapolate from that layers of meaning and that are fully fabricated in their heads. I will say that just as a last word here before I wrap up, that I will recommit that I would not kill baby Honkler. And now that gives me an idea for something which, if I had Photoshop abilities, I would do. I would get if I could get the footage at the very end of, if anyone has seen Come and See, the Soviet movie about the Nazi counter-guerrilla war in Belarus. Pretty intense film. And it ends with this kid shooting this vengeful child, sort of confronted with a picture of baby Hitler. And he finds that he can't kill the baby. You know, it's a classic kind of, plea for understanding and all that. And I just imagine you cut that in and you just have the kid looking, and it's just baby Honkler instead. Honkler with like a diaper on. I think that'd be pretty funny.